Jay, Coach, so many layers to this game. I'm trying to figure out exactly, what is the first thing we should talk about. But obviously, penalties were a big part of this game here tonight.
Well, they were. I mean, you can't take 3 penalties in a period, and it's going to catch up to you. So the first 2 periods, we had 3 penalties each period, and one to put us 5 on 3, 10 seconds into the penalty, just a blatant slash, which is that's not good. So you can't dig yourself a hole in on the road in a rink like this, but. The special teams, as good as we were last night, we weren't as good tonight for the most part. The 5 on 3 is, they got a bounce and unfortunately, loose puck there. But, and then, the third goal obviously was a killer too. We fought back. We didn't play with any real urgency. Maybe we did in spurts, but at the end, you finally saw the urgency that you need to play with the whole game. And that's the trick. That's the key as a team. You're always trying to put forward your best effort and play with that urgency from start to finish. It's easier said than done, obviously, and the other team has something to say about that. But, we weren't going to go through the season undefeated. We all know that. It's a tough place to play, a good hockey team. But having said that, we had our opportunities too. When you break down the game and key moments, breakaway by Brett Baltus or Lucchini at critical times in the game, and then at the end, we have a 5 on 3 and we can't really manufacture everything. We slowed everything down. That's when you got to jack it up. But overall, a lot of good things. We got some points on the road, and that's going to be key for us this year. Is make sure you continue to get points on the road and then take care of business at home.
Was it tough to get into a flow at least for the first 2 periods?
No question.
With all the penalties and not being able to get Patan's lane out there very much.
Yeah, definitely. That's part of the problem because Neville kills penalties and keys out mine, and it just part of our strength of our team is our depth. I really believe that, and once you start taking all those penalties, it does disrupt the flow, and you get guys out of the game a little bit. So. Excuse me, Dirk, and we're going to have to learn that's last night I thought we did a good job, only took so many penalties, but tonight way too many, and like you said, it just gets you out of your game, and you just don't seem to get that flow, and we can't use our depth, like we want to.
And they seemed like the opportunities, the scoring opportunities that Ferris State ended up capitalizing on were out of mistakes on our end, where it was a tough play there when Malcolm Gould knew that he had to be the next guy to touch the puck, and instead of just taking the whistle, they tried to get him the puck, and it turned it over.
Yeah, no question. And he had on his stick, and you have to understand, every play matters. We talk about that a lot. I mean, every play matters. You have to go out there, and with that sense of urgency, you need some patience, but you need a little desperation in your game also. It's that fine line in between, and it's unfortunate turnover. I mean, because I thought we were carrying the play there in the third period, and bang, one bad touch, and it's in our net, and and that was the game. I thought Jamie played well again tonight, and the goals that they got on him, you really can't fault them. 5 on 3, that goal, just a broken play in front of our own net. So we got some work to do, but having said that, I really like a lot of things about this team.
Certainly the effort was there, especially in the third period. I thought cranked it up a little bit and really trying to match what Ferris State did in the first 2 periods and what they didn't do maybe much of last night. They were really moving their feet tonight, I thought.
Ferris, yeah, and but I thought we hung in there with them. You get down a 1-goal game and you headed into the third period, and that's not bad. And I don't know what the shots on goal or even the attempts were in the third period, but I'm sure we carried the play.
Yeah, 20-10 were the
20
shots.
to 10. There you go. So we really didn't have any on the 5 on 3. So anyway, but with that, you get 20 shots on the road in the third period. That's pretty darn good. I'll take that any game that we play in this year.
Well, Coach, a big weekend coming up next Friday and Saturday, home and home against Northern Michigan. The guys, I'm sure, are going to get some rest and work on some things and get ready for another huge WCHA weekend.
It doesn't get any easier, Dirk. Every night you play in this league, you're going to play against a team that's going to work hard. It's going to try and take you off your game and has skill and usually good goaltending. So we have our hands full next weekend, but what a great rivalry. Obviously I've played in that rivalry, I've coached in that rivalry. It's fantastic. So I know we'll get excited and get home again and play at home in front of our fans. Obviously first we have to go into Northern and play on that Olympic sheet, but the way our team skates, we'll be fine. And then we get to come home Saturday. So I'll tell the fans to get their tickets. It's going to be one heck of a weekend.
Okay, Coach, thanks for your time.
Yep,
and
thanks,
got 2 points on the weekend. I guess you'll take that and head home and try to get a sweep against Northern.
Well, yeah, my theory has always been if you can split on the road and sweep at home, at the end of the year, you're going to be in pretty good shape. So, again, we have to continue to get points on the road. We'll be fine, and we'll just take care of our home ice. And, we've played well there the last couple of years at home. So, like I said, you always want more. You'd like the 4 points, but, hey, we'll take the 2 and move on.
All right, Coach, safe travels. We'll see you Monday on your show at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Dirk.
All right, Coach Mel Pearson here on Mix 93.